Welcome to the Breaking Average podcast, the podcast designed to challenge you to break the mold that average has on the world. Each episode offers insights directly from those who choose to break average every day. Now for the latest insights, here are your hosts, Paul Gustafson and Barry Smith.
All right, here we are, Barry. Welcome, man. It's getting cold in parts of the country, but we're here, man. Keeping the mics warm and keeping the airwaves warm with good thoughts of leadership and courage, right?
Yeah, good word. I mean, at the time of this recording, we're getting into the holiday season, my favorite time of the year, and you're right, man. I was just watching Jim Cantore standing in 3.5 feet of snow up in New York, man, waiting for that thunder snow. He just loves so much, but it's a change of seasons, man. And it's kind of like life, it just happens, and we got to be ready for it. I think we got a cool topic today, and I'm looking forward to the conversation, my friend.
Yeah, we this is going to be fun. So we're just going to take a few minutes, guys, and we're going to do something we've never done before. I'm going to share my screen as we do this. So if you're watching this, you'll follow along. If you're listening, hey, no worries. We're gonna articulate some stuff here. You'll get it. I'm actually going to share Twitter, what's left of Twitter, right? It's the social media site Barely Alive, at least of the time of this recording. But I came across this tweet that I thought, "Ooh, this is pretty good." And it's not the tweet itself; it's the replies that this person put in. So I'm just going to share them. Can we just dive into this thing, because it's 21 practical ideas I think are going to be beneficial to all of us. So you ready? Yep. Here we go. So I'm going to share my screen, and again, if you're watching, yeah, here it is. So you can see the date of we're recording this, guys, on November 17. So. We know this is a little bit dated, but I think the content is fresh. And so there was a post, Barry, that was said, after 13 years in finance and managing hundreds of millions, here are 21 truths that will make you more money than any business degree. Now, I almost just like, okay, I've seen this kind of stuff before. I wasn't really following it, but I was like, whoa, wait a minute. 1,500 retweets, lots of quote tweets, lots of likes. And I'm like, okay, what's underneath the hood on this thing? And you can see, clever way of doing a Twitter post, by the way. So here's the post. The post itself isn't all that earth-shattering. It's the replies underneath. So can we just kind of dive through these 21? Tell me what you think. And
let's go, man.
Do real time on this one. I know you've never seen these. All right. So
I'll do my best.
By the way, so shout out to Cody Sanchez. Thanks for sharing these. And hope you don't mind that we are reflecting this on our podcast. Okay, here's number one. And maybe I'm assuming this is number one. If no one thinks you're crazy, you're too late.
Yeah. I think you got to be a little over the edge, man. I mean, that's where great ideas come from. It's where big change in life comes from. You want people, at least I do. I want people occasionally. Don't know if we want to make it the norm.
Yeah.
But I've never taken exception to somebody telling me I had a crazy idea. Almost take that as a compliment. And I think that's, it's the opposite of status quo. If you're just doing what everybody else is doing, you're going to keep getting what everybody's getting. And I don't think for us or our listeners, that's what our goal is. So you gotta be a little bit outside the box, and you gotta do something just a little bit crazy sometimes to make it happen.
Yeah, I would 100%, right? Think about it, right? All the folks that have innovated something, brought something to life, who were pioneers, they were the crazy ones, right? That's what Steve Jobs said. If it wasn't for the Wright brothers going in the middle of the winter to Kitty Hawk to try to fly gliders and figure out how to strap on a lawnmower on that thing, that was crazy.
Great examples.
Yep. Edison with the light bulb. There's so many different ideas here. All right, so that's a good one. All right, next one. Again, I'm just following the flow. We'll see how much these stick. The first one I like. All right, painkillers versus vitamins. You make more money selling a need, than a desire.
Yeah,
I think more money selling a need than a desire.
It's what do people really need? There's a difference between obviously what we want and what we need. And I know for, as a high I can be an emotional buyer at times, but at the end of the day, it's what do I really need to move the needle forward? And, that's where I'm going to be shopping. Not always. Again,
Yeah.
I have my own challenges, but, for the most part, what do I need? That's a question you got to answer. What do I need to move myself forward? What I want to achieve, where I want to go. Desires are great, wants are great, but needs are what's going to get you to the finish line, or at least get you in the right direction.
Yeah. And I think there's merit to both understanding both needs and desire. So that's great. But if there's a desire, but there's not a really need for it, it's probably not really going to last. Needs are something that we need fulfillment on. So, yeah. It's a good one. All right. So, and again, guys, if you're watching, listening, you got comments on some of these ideas, you like them, hey, tweet them back. Or I don't know if Twitter's not even there anymore, but however you can connect with us, we would love to hear from you. All right. Next one. To take no risk is to let inflation nibble at your money until it disappears.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I've got like many of us, got some money in the market, and watched it do incredibly crazy things. Since pre-pandemic through now. Obviously, we are dealing with inflation. You either got to take some risk or no risk, right? I mean, there's not really a different option. I guess you could take a lot of risk, but I wouldn't necessarily encourage that.
Yeah.
But no risk is just
it's
the
riskiest.
Risk stay the same.
It's
right?
the riskiest of the bunch, right? No risk is like, well, dang, that's even more risky.
Inaction is an action.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah. So I would say go forward, look around, observe. UDA, observe, orient, decide, act. But act. Take that step. To get the fruit, you got to go out on the limb and get it.
Well stated.
All right. To take no risk is to let inflation nibble at your money until it disappears. That's something to think about here, especially as we go into the new year. Next one, the market isn't saturated. Your business just sucks.
Oh, yeah, there's for some folks out there, there's a lot of truth to that statement. It makes me think of the quote, and I can't remember where I heard this first. It might be a Grant Cardone thing, but best known always beats best. So we know in this day and age, especially the way online programs, online training is just exploding right now as far as an industry. It's really about your business, your marketing. The saturation is what it is. It's not going away. It's only going to get worse. So, I won't say your business might even be okay, but maybe your marketing or your strategy sucks. So I think you got to take a pretty good look at the overall picture and think into the fact that best known will beat best. It's not always about quality. It's about getting your name out there.
Yeah, I think there's so many folks who avoid, like, oh, it's too saturated. They'll step back. Maybe that's the time to be in it. Maybe it's because it's telling you, hey, look, there's an interest in this kind of thing. It isn't that I get the red ocean, blue ocean part, and we could have that discussion. But if there is an interest in other businesses stepping into that space, then it doesn't mean that you shouldn't. It means maybe you should look there to see what's going on and what else can you do to differentiate yourself.
Yeah.
What a little bit of crazy from a differentiation standpoint can you step into and apply? Because there's a market there, right? So, all right.
It's funny, just on this screenshot, it seems like it's got most traction on that comment with the likes and the retweets.
Yeah, that's right. There's a bunch there. That's cool. We can kind of see the metrics here as we're doing it.
Yeah.
We'll come back and you tell me what your favorite is, and I'll like it.
Ooh.
All right. In the near future, buying and selling businesses will be as common as buying and selling houses.
Yeah.
Interesting. I've seen that.
It's an interesting comment. I don't know if it will ever ever get to that point. Maybe it will, but it's definitely something growing. The folks I work with, clients, colleagues, peers, many of them, that's one of the options they're looking at as far as the business they have. Build it up, build some credibility, build a client base, and then, sell it off. It happens every day. There's no doubt about that. I think it really comes down to, what are you doing for business? Are you passionate about it? For me personally, I can't even imagine selling off my business, because what I do, I love doing. I'm passionate about it. I'm not building the business to build a business. I'm building a business to do something I love to do. But I can't argue with the idea that selling businesses is going to, continue to grow and rival that of houses. Don't think it'll get there, but it's definitely grown, no doubt.
Well, let me ask you this question. Are you a buyer or a seller?
Wow. Now that's an interesting question.
Right?
I guess
a lot of people are probably looking at this from a selling standpoint, but what if you're the buyer?
Yeah. Yeah. I think it comes down to how you define what you're buying. You buying a service, you buying a product. I got to say, I'm both. Certainly as an entrepreneur, as a coach, I'm selling my services, but at the same time, I'm always looking, to what's a new resource for my own personal or professional development. So in that respect, I'm a buyer. Certainly technology, there's always new stuff out there that's supposed to make our life better. But I know you, as being a technology guy, you definitely see that. So I think in a sense, we're both, and maybe can be both at the same time, most likely.
Yeah. I think if you're in business, if you're an entrepreneur, say you're a solopreneur, the best way to grow your business is actually to look at it from an acquisition standpoint. Yeah. And that means that potentially you're a buyer. Now, how can you be a buyer in this? You're not Mark Cuban or, any of the sharks in Shark Tank, right? I get it. But there are some opportunities to partner up and look at it from a win-win scenario, right? So a Covey approach and say, hey, look, if we combine, if we find a way to merge and unite on this, we can make a big difference. We can make a dent in the universe. And, that's kind of a buyer's position, to realize that there may be some capability that someone else has. It's not just the clients that somebody else can bring to the table, but it's the capacity and capability that they have. So I think it's a healthy thing to be mindful of those kind of acquisitions. So
yeah, and to that point, I think it strengthens the business model. If you are building your business with the thought of, even if it's not the intention right now, but with the thought in mind of, hey, what's it look like if I want to sell this? It's got to be profitable, it's got to be solid, got to be a client base, all those things that go into it. Well, that's a recipe for success in business. Yeah. I won't say nobody, but a successful business is definitely going to be easier to market than one that's failing.
Yep. Yeah. So I think if you look at the long range picture, you see those that are successful are more of the buyers than the sellers. Yeah. But all right, that's just one perspective. I think it's healthy to kick that one around. So, all right. So next one, Cody shares this one. People don't care what you're doing unless you answer the real question. What's in it for me?
WIIFM.
What's in it for me? Oh, this is so good. I can't believe there's only two, it's not getting as much hits. Although there's a look. I'll hit love. I love that one. That's good.
Yeah, so, at the end of the day, that's it. It's human nature. But, often when I'm working with people in a Maxwell organization, doing a mentoring coaching call with a lot of our new folks coming in, always like, where do I start? What do I want to do? This is how I want to build my business. And I try and encourage and remind them and say, hey, what's relevant to people today is what's relevant to them today. You've got to meet a need. You've got to meet an opportunity, help them with a challenge. They want to know what's in it for them. Look at, unless we're, some type of impulse buying on something, typically we're looking at, how does this serve me? If we're going to invest time or money, right, then how is this going to serve me? And, some folks have a problem making good decisions along those lines, but I can say I try and use that filter of what is in this for me that's going to help me move forward if I'm going to invest some time or money in it. So I love it. We've all heard it before, but it's always good to see that jumping back in and just being right there. How does this serve me?
Yeah, such an important question. I love it. All right, next one. Want to know interesting people? Be more interesting yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we become the people we hang around with, right? And certainly that works both ways. I love this one. My I think this, Paul. My word for this year was proximity, right? And it just, the more I've been intentional about who I'm spending my time with, it's interesting how just day-to-day life kind of changes up. Always being inspired, always being challenged. It just feels more rewarding, to hang around with those interesting type of people that are challenging your thinking, encouraging you to do more. Like the first one we started out with here, get a little crazy, right? So I think you've got to, if you want to attract those people, you got to be like them. And if you want to, have them be attracted to you, then it's the same thing. So definitely like that. Got to get a little more interesting.
Yeah, and here's a thought for everybody, and I know you'll resonate with this. If you're interested in them, so here's the idea. The quote, the thought is simply this: be interested in them, and they'll be more interested in you.
Yep.
If you don't show interest in them, then why are they going to be interested in you? It's really that simple. And so, be where your feet are, that kind of thing. That's so important. Be totally present. What a difference that will make. Yep.
Be where your feet are. We keep pulling that one back in. I love that phrase.
Richard Mobley, that's out to you, because he's quoting Nick Saban probably. I don't know. I'm not sure Nick's where his feet is at right now, because Alabama's not doing too good.
He's having a tough year.
That's okay. He's going to be fine. All right, next one. Never discount. Compete on value, not price.
Now, this is an easy one for me. It's always about value. I have this discussion all the time in my business. People are about cost and price. No, it's always about value. Always about value, and the value served, the value that we bring to others. It's just a key word. Our values, right? You and I have talked about that on previous podcasts. It's always value. Always value.
Yep. Compete on value, not price. Value. What value are you providing? What are you offering?
Yeah.
Recognize that. Be fully aware of that. And don't discount yourself. All right. That's a good one. All right. Next one. The right relationships are better leverage than money.
Yeah. I think this is everything. John Maxwell, very successful guy that you and I both know. Most of our listeners are very familiar with him. He'll tell you straight up, his success, top reason, the relationships he's built along the way. And I'm not a fan of the word leverage. I think it has a negative connotation to it, but man, it's not always who you know, but how well you know them. Right. Again, it goes back to my word proximity. You got to invest in those relationships though. It's a two-way street. Some of these from Cody here kind of tie together.
Yes.
Right. Relationships are definitely an asset to protect, an asset to build on, and they are better leverage than money any day in my book.
100%. I think those that really kind of push forward and go further, they're not focused on the dollar. Yeah, maybe the dollar is a benefit to some of the things that they're doing, and they get, it allows them to do more, but it's not about that. It's about relationships.
Yeah.
And I forget where I was. Somebody said, it was the other day when we were on our call. It was Hub Harvey. He said, leadership is about relationships.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow, that's gold right there.
It is.
All right, so that's cool. All right, let's keep going. This is good. This is fun. Your product should meet demand, not attempt to create it.
Yeah, again, meet a need. You
Yeah.
don't. It's a lot easier to meet a need than create one. I mean, look, there's plenty of needs out there. We don't
Yeah.
need to be creating more needs. We need to be creating solutions.
Yeah.
I love this. I mean, in a sense, Cody's kind of stating the obvious, but I think people forget that sometimes. Oh, I got an idea. I'll go out and create this need for somebody, and then take care of it for them. Well, I haven't seen that work too often.
Yeah.
So find the need, solve a problem. That's the key to success.
Yeah. Yeah, I think when you look for the demand, what's really need, I mean, that's really demand means identifying what's needed. That's so important. You just can't forge and force yourself into a marketplace if there's not a need. That means there's no marketplace,
Yeah,
right?
that's pretty
Demand is
much it.
demand is where your marketplace is. All right, this is cool. All right, let's keep going. This will be interesting. I'm curious your thoughts on this one. Technology will eat boring businesses.
I don't know why, but Kodak popped into my head here, and
Mm.
I don't know if I'm interpreting Cody's
Ah,
statement right or not, but Kodak got boring because here comes technology, and that the process that they had been delivering, that they got boring, and we know what happened there. So
yeah,
I think you've got to be, and I know you appreciate this. You're probably going to answer this a lot more intelligently than I will because you work in it every day. But you got to stay with the times. In fact, the successful people are ahead of the times. Look at Apple.
yeah.
Look at what they're doing there. I mean, you got to be ahead. You can't play catch up in the technology business today.
It's so true, right? So I'm glad you brought up I was thinking also of Barnes book. What is it? What's the book business? Borders, right?
Yeah,
Gone, right?
yeah,
Blockbuster, gone, right? Kodak, as you mentioned, gone. What happened? Well, technology kind of changed. They thought, well, no, it's twatty disease, as Diane Kane says, the way we've always done it. That's not the way
yeah,
we've always done it. But you've got to be ready for technology change. Here's the other one that's happening right now. You're seeing this. We're starting to see this in the auto industry. Is the move to EV, right?
yeah.
Electronic vehicles. We know it's happening. Chevrolet announced this week in the month of November, as we're recording this, that they've got a full strategic path forward to move essentially predominantly the majority of their vehicles to electronic vehicles,
Oh,
EV. And that says a lot. And that's a risk, but it's probably a good one. And somebody else is going to be left like, well, no, we're going to keep doing gas. And I'm not a fan of any of the auto manufacturers per se. I like them all. I like to see what they do. So I'm kind of agnostic when it comes to that. But it's just interesting to see what's happening there in that area. We're going to see a whole change and shift
oh,
in the auto
definitely.
industry for sure.
I'm reminded of Mr. Lee Iacocca in his favorite quote, I think, while he was at Chrysler: "Lead, follow, or get left behind."
Yeah,
Those are basically the options.
that's right. Lee Iacocca. I am chairman of Chrysler Corporation of America. Yep. I thought that was so funny. His last name actually spelled that. All right, so let's keep going. This is cool. Technology will eat boring businesses. Ask ourselves that question, like, what can we do to step forward so we're not sitting in the past? We got to keep future minded. Next one, your price isn't too high. Your perceived value is too low.
Yeah, this is.
Oof.
I don't think a week goes by I don't enter into this conversation with clients or folks that I'm working with, especially this time of year when it's always a chance. Hey, it's a new year, prices are going up, and it just amazes me. And I shouldn't say it amazes me because I think I went through this myself when I kind of did my transition out of working at JOB and becoming an entrepreneur. But I have yet to hear. This is the way the conversation typically goes. Is we talk about, look, you're undervaluing the services you're providing. You've got to establish yourself in a marketplace. Figure out what that number needs to be. Even if you're going to discount it or reduce a rate, establish your price in a marketplace. Now I can tell you, in kind of in this business of coaching and training now for about 10 years, I have yet to hear someone say they were turned down because their rate was too high. I've actually had people say they were turned down because their rate was too low. And I think it's just because people get hung up, again, on this cost and price and don't think about the value that's there. You're well tuned into corporate America and how big business works. You work with those folks every day. They're willing to pay a reasonable price for a reasonable service. It's not about the price at all. It's about the value they can get out of it. So I love this one.
Yeah, and think of it from a buyer standpoint, because how many buyers have gotten the short end of the stick because they purchased at the lowest value, and then they realize, oh, guys, you get what you pay for. Yep. So if you're discounting yourself and your business and what you do and the services that you offer, the products that you have, down to nothing, down to as low as you can go just so you can get the sale, you know what? You're actually devaluing the quality of what you have. Don't do that.
For real.
Yeah. Cool. I like that one. Let's keep going here. Growth is the small things magnified.
Yeah, this is cool. It is the small things magnified, and it's also the small things matter. We take care of the little things, and that'll take care of the big things. If we don't take care of the little things, then the big things are going to have some issues. So I think the small things, I think you could substitute just about anything for the word growth in this. Almost anything we do, it's the small things magnified is what's going to make the difference. The small details matters. How many times have we talked about, small, consistent steps? Yeah. That consistency is going to compound, right? Heard it from John Maxwell. We've heard it from Hardy. I mean, it's a reality of life. Small, consistent steps is going to lead to success.
Yeah, and you think about it, somebody that does the small things, what does that say? It says that they care.
Yeah.
Right? And when you see somebody, oh boy, they took that extra little effort, that extra little effort goes a big, long way. So whether you're selling cars or selling cake or whatever it is, whatever you do, whatever service that you have, try to go beyond yourself by taking care of those small things, because that's going to impact you. That's going to help you grow. All right. Love that one. Next one. Prioritize reviews and testimonials. A happy customer is the most powerful marketing.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, I use this example all the time, just in my own story of transitioning into being an entrepreneur. Word of mouth marketing is the best marketing you'll ever get. Yeah, guarantee. I'll argue that with anybody any day. It just is, because it will blow up. It will compound. It doesn't cost anything, right? When you think about it, you just add value to people. That's your business model. They start talking about that. We all do. We all talk about people who have helped us, right? So a happy customer is the most powerful marketing. Now, an unhappy customer can also be very powerful marketing. So this is important. Are you delivering what you say you're going to deliver? This is the key to business right here, man.
This is, I live south of DC, where we have a football team that's got a real struggle. There's not very many happy customers with the ownership of the team at this time. And you should see what's happening there. There's all sorts of stuff, and many of you guys have already seen sort of the momentum that's being built on this, and the owner's ready to sell now. Tells you something, How does that happen? Well, you got to make sure you take care of your clients and your customers. Just take care of them.
He lost focus.
Yep. So cool. All right, next one. We're almost there. Skin in the game is the only opinion worth hearing.
Yeah. What comes to mind for me on that is like getting marital advice from the single or divorced guy, getting financial advice from the dude who's broke. Get your skin in the game. Learn your own lessons. Now, if you can have somebody else jump in and learn from theirs, okay. But your skin in the game is or anybody you're listening to, that's the only one I'm going to give credibility to. Don't tell me what you think without a proven track record. So social proof, right? That's a big phrase we hear kicked around all over the place. Social proof. Well, where's social proof come from? It comes from getting skin in the game. So yeah, this will be in my running for my top pick right here.
Cool. Yeah, it's a good one. I'm just hitting likes on all these when we'll come back to it. It's a good one because I think you're right. Experience matters. Get the experience. Go in there. And if you don't, find somebody who does. Learn from them. Get mentors. Find somebody that's been there. Makes a huge difference. All right. Most go broke to look wealthy instead of living cash poor to become wealthy.
Oh, he who dies with the most toys wins, right?
Oh, that's funny. This is really interesting. I love the take on this one. Most go broke to look wealthy.
I think this is what people want to. It's like keeping up with the Joneses, right? For some reason, many or if not most people in first world countries, want others to think highly of them. And how do they measure that? Basically by what they have or the appearance of what they have. And they, what's no offense to boat owners out there, but two best days in boat owners' life: the day they buy it and the day they sell it. So it's just this facade, I think, for many that is not authentic, right? And we hear stories of folks who present themselves to be all that, and then we find out the truth, and they've been going broke to look wealthy instead of just living thrifty, frugal. Doesn't mean you don't have to have anything. Just invest your time and money where it makes sense.
Yeah,
something that's going to last.
Yeah, we're such a consumer-driven society. If you want to invest in something, invest in a storage unit, right? Because people have so much stuff, and I'm not sure. I won't say the number. I've shared this with you, but I have a relative who has invested mightily in a lot of different thrift store stuff over the years, a lot. And where does that all go? Storage unit. 5 storage units over 6 years, 7 years, $40,000 in rental cost for stuff. Crazy. Imagine what you could do with that $40,000.
Oh yeah,
right.
And the time back of handling it all. What could you have done with the time? We overlook. This is for a whole nother podcast, but we just overlook the value of time. Everything we do takes time, whether it takes money or not. It still takes time.
It takes time,
and that's what we can't get back. Can always find more money. Can't always find more time.
Yeah, I love how Dave Ramsey, I think he says it this way: if you live like no one else today, then you can live like no one else tomorrow.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So, cool.
Good quote.
All right, let's keep going, man. We're getting close. Most go broke to look wealthy. All right, I already hit that one. Sorry, I'm looking at my red tags. Give free value with 0 expectations, and you'll get 10 times returns down the road.
Yeah, I totally believe that. I don't know where I heard the quote first, but the greatest gift you can give is the gift of giving something with the expectation of nothing in return.
Yeah.
And I love, and I certainly don't always live that way, but it's certainly something I strive to do. Again, I think you do something that feels good, something you're passionate about. I think that financial return is always a byproduct of being in that zone of where you were created to be. You can work hard and you can make money and you can do all kinds of stuff. But at the end of the day, I think it's just about how we add value to others, and that will come back.
And think about it, right?
It always does.
It always does. And if you have expectations, you might be disappointed.
Yeah.
And then are you going to live with that?
Yep.
Are you going to live because you had expectations and now you didn't get it? And You live with disappointment?
Disappointment. This is the word I was, without, can you have disappointment without expectation?
So good. All right. Man, these are great. Don't take favors, give them. It's better to be owed than to owe.
Isn't that like a golden rule or something?
Could be, should be.
Yeah. I mean, again, if you're gonna loan something to somebody, just give it to them. I mean, if you can. I mean, certainly there's a business out there of loaning money, things like that. But just be a giver. I think, what was it? Bob Berg, I think, Go Giver.
Yeah.
But that was something a long time ago, but
that's a good one.
There's just value in that. It feels good. It feels right. I don't want to owe anybody.
That's right. That's so good. All right, let's keep going. We're almost there. Your first $100,000 comes faster if you earn before you invest. This one's going to take some thinking, I guess, right? Your first,
got to have money to make money.
Yeah,
takes money to make money.
If your first $100,000 comes faster if you earn before you invest.
I think what's being said here is don't look for the easy route.
That's right.
Of just finding that perfect stock or whatever it might be, the fast track, the shortcut. Get out there and earn, and
That's right.
and it'll come.
Yep, there is a progression to this. There is a series of steps when you think about it. And if you're trying to invest what you don't have, then you won't have anything.
Yeah.
But if you build and then you can invest in what you've built, right? You're going to be more mindful. You're going to be smarter in terms of what those investments are. You're not playing with house money. This is your money.
Right, skin in the game.
Yeah, skin in the game. Yep, it's good stuff. All right, here we go. Leverage expertise. Leverage expertise time. Pick one. That's all you need to make money. Oh, I get it, right? So she's sharing three things. Leverage expertise or time. Pick one. That's all you need to make money.
I think it is, it's just the approach you take. Again, commitment, being intentional, having the right plan. We kind of started a conversation talking about what that looks like. There's a lot more words that you can probably add in there and say, pick one. That's all you need to make money. But it's commitment to those words.
I think there's consistency, really. Yep. Right. So I'd add that word, consistency. Everything, compound interest is about consistency. Everything.
Yep.
So this is really good, though. All right. So which of these, I've already hit likes on all these just because I didn't want to lose track of where we were. But what's your favorite of the bunch? Because I'll just throw that.
I think go back to the skin in the game.
Skin in the game.
I think what was it? Advice. About halfway through.
Skin in the game. There it is.
Here we go. Skin in the game is the only opinion worth hearing.
There it is.
I just, I think that's authentic. That's authentic to me. If you want to, it's like coaching. All right. I'm talking about my profession. You got to have skin in the game. I have a coach. I actually have multiple coaches. I don't think you can authentically coach people and not go through that process. You can't give what you haven't experienced. You just got to be authentic. So it's always skin in the game. You got to have skin in the game.
Man, these are great. So here we are, man. I think the tip and challenge we just gave 21 of them.
Yeah, no doubt.
All right, so let's wrap up this episode. I know we've gone a few minutes extra here on this, but I've enjoyed it. It's kind of fun, a little different, right?
Absolutely. And I think for me, Paul, it's any of those really come down to what are we doing today? Where are you investing your time? Where are you putting your skin in the game? Who are you hanging around with?
Yeah.
Today matters, right?
Yeah.
There's a book out there by a guy we know.
Yep.
Today matters, but today does matter. We don't know what tomorrow holds.
Yeah.
And we can certainly hold a vision for that. Um, but make it count, man. Carpe diem, right? Make today count
Yeah.
because you're not going to get it back. It's 24 hours you're not going to get back.
That's right. Make it count.
So maybe there's some tips in there that can help you maximize today.
I love it. And so here, as we land the plane, one thing to all our listeners, viewers, go check out the webpage, breakingaverage.com. Love to have you there. Comment on this. This has been fun. Hey, Barry, this is going to air on Thanksgiving Day. So we're less than a week away from Thanksgiving. So we shared these 21 tips. 21 tips for Thanksgiving. That's what we'll call this episode. How about that?
There you go.
All right. And then I'm writing that down so I don't forget it. And I'm going to ask you this one question. What are you thankful for on this Thanksgiving Day?
Well, I'm thankful for you. That's what you told me to say. But
Nope.
no, I think for me, it's definitely family. As we record this, I'm out on the other coast, out in Oregon, and been with my youngest and his wife this week, and the rest of the kids are coming in Sunday. And this is a home I helped my grandfather build, like almost 45 years ago. So a lot of good memories here. And it's just to be with family, to realize that's not forever, right? I went through a lot of family loss in the last 5 years. And so you got to enjoy those moments, today, the power of today, right?
Yeah.
So definitely for me, family. How about you? I know you're going on a little adventure too. We both decided to head west for the holiday.
Yeah. I love Thanksgiving. It's one of my favorite holidays of the year because, I've got a sign at home that says there's always something to be thankful for. And, and as I was preparing for this trip, we're about to leave here in just a couple hours. I found some old pics and I realized just the sacrifices that have been made on my behalf for people that didn't even know me, my grandparents, my parents, obviously when they were younger, so many sacrifices. So I'm so thankful for the choices that people have made before me. And the question that I have for you and for all of us is, hey, am I going to be a good ancestor? Am I going to be a good ancestor? Because I've got some good ones behind me. And so I'm really thankful for those ancestors. I'm thankful for the decisions and choices they've made. And we're going to talk more about the power of today on our next episode. But it's realizing that, boy, we get an opportunity to make some smart choices today. And that'll impact a generation, maybe 2, maybe 3 generations later. So
you're talking about legacy, brother.
That's right.
I mean, it's a big deal. This was, my grandparents and especially my folks when they were here, really were the historians, right? And so we've been doing some painting and doing some cleanup and kind of some reorganization because there's literally probably a couple hundred pictures on walls in this place just of, my great grandparents and the stories that go with those. And there just is so much in not just our immediate family, right? The ones that are going to be sitting around eating turkey here in about a week in this house, but all the history that was here. Again, that's the legacy. I love your question, man. We're going to be good ancestors. Yeah, man. The challenge is on.
Challenge is on. Let's do it, man. All right. Well, guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. And Barry, I know this is a different time, odd time for us to do this. So we're taking a break out of our day and connecting with our families and work. And just kind of lay this down. Hopefully we've added some value to you guys as you're watching and listening. And but Barry, I'm looking forward to our next one. Always, brother. Today, man. It's going to be good.
Happy holidays to you, my friend, and everybody else out there. If you're listening to this on the initial post, happy Thanksgiving to you here in the States, man, and happy holiday season.
That's right. There you go, guys. We'll see you next time.
Take care, everybody.
Thank you for listening to the Breaking Average podcast. If you loved what you heard, please take a moment to subscribe. This show was produced by R Squared Multimedia. All opinions and comments expressed in this podcast are those of the participants and do not reflect the opinions or views of any of the advertisers, producers, or platforms. As you continue your day, what is one action that you can apply from this podcast to your life? Tune in for our next episode as we continue to challenge everyone to break average.